So, how do you get women to kind of acknowledge that their story is worth telling, that they are worth being heard, and that they might even be able to help others? How do you encourage them to do that?
So I encourage them to really think about their legacy and their lifeline and their bloodline. Really, that's what it really comes down to. That's the cornerstone of all of this as far as warrior women goes. And the example that I give often is that I was very close with the women in my family. Both my grandmas, well, one of them was my nanny, and then my other one was my grandma. And I was very, very close to both of those women. They were much older. One of them was from the Depression area, and they were not given that same opportunity that I've been given. They were really shamed about their story. They were isolated from their story. They grew up in a generation where it was more about closing the things that were painful versus expressing the things that were painful. Or, some of these stories that have molded us, it doesn't necessarily have to be a terrible, sad story, but just the stories in general that mold us along the way that make us who we are. And most of the time what I've seen was those women were shut down. They weren't given a voice. They definitely weren't given the opportunity to be able to publish it in a published piece. So just in general, I just have them take a look at their line and talk about, are you representing your story the way that you feel should be represented? Has anybody in your family been able to do so? Especially the women in our family. Like I said, both, I would give anything. I would give anything to have my grandmother's story and to have my nanny's story and to have their lessons connected to it. Because this is what happens with stories is time passes, people forget, they have a different version of what you think they have. It becomes gray. It's not there written and saying, this is what I want you to take away from the story, right? So as women become brave enough or confident enough to share their story, many, many people get to hear your story and then they get to walk away feeling however they want about it.